Hello, everybody. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. I always watch the analytics for YouTube and to see how many views my channel's had. And I've been watching this closely because I knew this was going to happen, that I'm fixing to break 1,000,000 views. That'll be the name of this video. Your channel has got 2,000 views, and you'll see November 10th. It just happened yesterday. And so that's kind of a milestone. It really doesn't mean anything. You don't get anything or nothing special. It's just a bragging rights or whatever. So like, I got 1,000,000 views on my YouTube channel, and it just happened yesterday. So I went over to Facebook and I did a short write-up. This video won't be that long, but I think you're going to find it interesting here. And 1,000,000 views. My YouTube channel at YouTube under Buddy Webb is my channel name, exceeded 1,000,000 views yesterday on 1,039 videos. I joined YouTube on August 10th, 2012, which was 6 months after surviving a home invasion and premeditated for-profit capital murder attempt that left me crippled, ended my 28-year career, and smeared my name worldwide. I've never monetized any videos, and my goal has been to clear my name and see that justice is served, with hope that this never happens to another innocent homeowner. I was literally home and minding my own business when they came to my home with guns and murderous intent, and it looks like they murdered the guy that lived here before me. Okay. I'm going to stop there real quick. I just saw a Facebook post earlier that says, yeah, there's only partial story, but of course there was no, any further, discussion about that. But I think people that might have been involved, I was told that there was a lot of people here, and that would mean in the underground home in the backyard. So I believe they were having some kind of underground party that was in, where they had the old show parties where they raped and murdered that little girl in 2010, whatever. This was in 2012 when I shot. I believe a lot of people were here when I shot, because the ex-wife had told me, you don't know how many lives you ruined with your idiocy, And what I think the reference is that I had recognized that somebody had been inside my home again, that I was under a home invasion, okay? I had been reporting repeated burglaries to my house to the police, okay? I've now documented hundreds of these felony burglaries at my home. This home is literally rigged so people can break into it, from underneath it, felony burglary. So I trapped a burglar, and I've made videos about this before. And I think what the ex-wife was saying, you don't know how many lives were when I tie-wired my spare door shut, trying to compartmentalize my home and figure out where they're coming in from, and also save my life because I'm under a home invasion. I trapped that burglar. Okay, so these criminals that are breaking in homes and stealing services, that's what they're doing. They're stealing services from you, because you can't stay in the attic without stealing heating, cooling, electricity, invading your privacy, etc. These criminals that are breaking in my home and all these other homes or whatever is breaking this home. They got trapped in this bathroom. Okay, and I had a gun and I'm on the other side of the door. Okay, so we're like, oh, we got to kill him now. No, you don't. What you do is call the police, have the criminal arrested, right? I mean, this was a active felony burglary of a habitation. I had been reporting that, okay? That was the answer, was to call the police, but the problem here is these police were corrupt and they're involved in the burglaries. They're involved in the people in the attic and rigging the homes and all that stuff. And so I think that's where it come over, that they chose not to call the police and have the criminal arrested. They chose to murder me instead. So I just want everybody to get the rest of the story there. That's where it happened. So basically saying I'm home minding my own business, which I was, and they came to my home with guns and murderous intent, which they did, and then they, and tried to kill me. And that's exactly right. What was left out of that story is that I had trapped a burglar in the guest bathroom after, reporting multiple burglaries at this house. And this gang, this criminal gang, that's what they're doing. They're rigging homes for burglary, theft, and murders. And there's a large group of police that are involved in this racketeering and organized crime. So I'm going to go on and move from there and say, This is the biggest untold story in America of secret $1 million underground homes put in for the Bushes, a secret police murder gang, faked x-rays, doctors that kill people for profit, people reported in the attic across the nation, and proof that our press has been hiding these crimes from the public. Also included is evidence which should solve multiple murders, such as the famous missing murdered child Hailey Dunn, the young previous owner of this home, a young girl at a 2010 underground oil show party, and many others. I believe that we'll find out these videos caused U.S. Congressman Mike Conaway to retire and U.S. Secretary of DHS, Department of Homeland Security, Kevin McClellan, and U.S. Secretary of Energy Rick Perry to resign. Perry was former governor of Texas. It may have been a factor in the presidential election, too, as it's suspected that Vice President Pence was also connected with the cover-up of these many crimes. A lot of people, they don't even realize that. Of course, that's not proven, but what we do know is on the day that I'm at Homeland Security at the Home Depot store to show them where the human trafficking murder tunnel was at, that was used, for the oil show parties and the murder of the little girl in 2010, that was the same day that Pence mysteriously turned around in the air and flew back to Washington. Okay, and I believe it was because I was meeting Homeland Security at the Home Depot store. And that's when they tried to talk me into selling my house. 2 weeks later, they're pouring concrete, right? I got it on video. And then it was 2 weeks after that video went viral, U.S. Congressman Mike Conaway announces his retirement. Come to find out, his brother-in-law used to live across the street, and then 3 months later, the Secretary of Homeland, resigns, and then the Secretary of Energy resigns. And what I was saying all along, what I suspect is that some multi-billion-dollar oil companies that were involved in the underground oil show parties was leaning on Perry and McClellan. You need to cover this up. It ain't good for the stock prices. We don't want the public to find out we're raping and murdering little girls at underground parties under Buddy's house. Let's pour concrete. And then they get caught on camera. Now they're looking at the death penalty, right? Because that's a death penalty case, and that's tampering with evidence in capital murder. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. And then Pence was here meeting these oil company executives not long before that. I had already suspected Pence was, and probably there was promises of big donations to the presidential fund or whatever. Okay, so here's all these facts. Then there's the Artesia story, where the woman told me that it was a wealthy old man in Artesia was connected, and then I posted it on my Facebook. 4 hours later, Vice President Pence announces he's flying to the tiny town of Artesia, right? So I've suspected Pence was involved in for these oil companies to cover up the oil show party murders. Well, I had contacted Pelosi, okay, hoping to trying to find justice and get this thing blown out, get done, whatever. So I contacted one of her representatives, talked on the phone a long time, and of course never got a call back, nothing, and then comes election day, and Pence turned his back on Trump, right? Like he was blackmailed. And I was sitting there thinking, I bet you Pelosi got that information and is going, oh boy, we got Pence now, because now we can throw Pence in prison, right? Because he's tampering with evidence and in this capital murder of this girl at the oil show party. So then here they blackmailed him to turn his back on Trump on Insurrection Day. Now that ain't proven, but that's just some of the facts that I've suspected that Pence is also connected. These are all coming back due to these videos of mine, these movies, and the crimes at this house. Okay. So anyways, moving on, here are some links. My first video is posted on December 21st, 2014, and it was called I Can't Breathe. And that's a police scanner video, had 1,000 views, December 21st, 2014. That was really my first video there. Was my first video, okay? My last video was posted on October 10th, 2021, and it was just a couple days ago, right? And it's called Tunnels by Target, because there was a woman on Private Messenger told me her son had told her about a tunnel over by Target. Remember, Target's next to Home Depot right by my house, okay? And so I documented the tunnel went under a home over here by my home, okay? So I documented it, named that video that. But that goes on also to talk about Pioneer Oil Company, that how the first owner of my home was was an engineer for Pioneer, and how Pioneer had given all the law enforcement here these $105,000 checks, and so there's people asking if oil companies are bribing our law enforcement to help them cover up crimes and murders. There has to be something to explain just this blatant, in your face, corruption is what it is, where homeowners all over the place reporting people in the attic. The press ain't reporting it. These are burglary, thefts, and murders, right? I'm ambushed and shot in my home, and it's connected to these crimes and these criminals, okay? And then here we go. The most watched video was posted on April 21st, 2017, was called Friday Night Alley Action. That one had 80,000 views. And, and I always tell people that's like a non-videos. I've had 1,000 videos. I think it got them views because YouTube promoted it. Okay, so I don't even tell people go watch that one. But the second most watching was October 25th, 2015, and it's called Rape and Murder 9 Minutes, 41,000, and that's my number 2 most watched video on my YouTube channel. And it's a clip out of one of the videos out of the Midland, Texas Tunnels and Crime 1 through 5 series. Some of 5 videos I made right at the beginning that had probably 100,000 views, from them and the clips off of them. And this was a clip off of them. And Rape and Murder was talking about the young girl at the oil show party in 2010 that was told she was, prostitute or die. And there was police at that party. And then it's also talking about Chad Simpson, because I posted that story to my Facebook with a picture of Chad Simpson. And 2 days later, Midland K-9 police officer Chad Simpson murders his wife and kills himself. 2 days after I posted that, So there's a whole bunch of questions there. Was Chad at the underground oil show parties in 2010? Did Sandra see this? She was the wife that was murdered by Chad. Did Sandra see it and ask Chad, recognize him in my house and ask him about the little girl murdered at the oil show party, and so he decided to kill him? Or, was it somebody else decided to take them out, and then call it a murder-suicide, But anyway, there's that video. And then these videos, the next loop here, and these all have links. People can watch them from my Facebook. And I'll put them on this YouTube too. I said these videos are the most watched in the last 28 days. So this basically is what I call what's trending right now, And then this latest one here, Tunnel Found Under a Midland Home, it basically went viral with almost 8,000 views right there. And it was just October 27th, 2021. Guy here in town has a slab leak busted out underneath his concrete, this man-made tunnel. It's scary, going down about 15 foot in turns. I think that's what's under this house. I think that's what's under all the houses where people are reporting people in the attic, and that's going on all over the country, okay? And then the latest one, November 8th, was 3 days ago, named 3 Families Run All Prostitution in Midland, Odessa. That one's had over 4,000 views in the last 3 days, okay? That's huge, And basically, there was a girl here in Midland that somebody set on fire, murdered her, okay? A horrific, gruesome murder here in Midland, okay? And they released her name was Sapphire Minta, okay? So I did a Facebook post, shared where they released her name, and I said, I had wondered if that was my ex-wife. And one of the reasons was because she had told me, certain things. I could see people that might want her dead, okay? And one of them was that she had told me, she whispered in my ear, there's 3 families run all the prostitution in Midland, Odessa, okay? But there was other things she told me a couple weeks before, or a few weeks before the murder attempt, while we're still together. She comes in from work, super upset, and she whispers in my ear again. And the reason she whispers in my ear is so the burglar in the attic can't hear her tell me, okay? And she tells me, she says, the secret is a group of doctors are killing people for profit. She's dead serious, okay? I mean, dead serious. And 2 months later or whatever, I'm ambushed and shot with my phone lines cut, okay? And then, if her friend would have ruled my murder an accident, which was going to happen, that was the dirty cop, Detective Rosie Rodriguez, then she was going to get $650,000. And most of that was accidental death insurance, okay? And she had taken my life insurance books, okay? But the big prize was this home, with its underground home in the backyard that can be seen on Google Maps. That's where they were having the oil show parties. That's where they murdered the little girl in 2010, right? And so anyway, that's all in this video, this recent video that went viral. Crime Stoppers tip girl on fire. That's recent, 2 days ago, right? The former boyfriend of the girl set on fire contacts me, says, I want her to rest in peace and nobody talk about her online or something like that. It's just odd. No remorse, nothing at all. He didn't want people talking about this girl caught on fire, and I'm like, no, that's an unsolved murder. Nobody rests in peace until her murder's solved. So I took screenshots and I sent it to Crime Stoppers, okay? So that's that video there, okay? And then the pictures of the secret police, there was go, if you ain't got enough evidence and proof, that's the video right there. Them police were secret for 6 years. They accidentally started a camera and caught themselves covering up in my home, covering up the murder attempt on my life when I was in the hospital, okay? And then I didn't get the police report because they were illegally withholding the police report. But like I said, what messed them up is they accidentally started that camera. And that was these pictures right here, the pictures of the secret police. I come home and I found them on my computer. But I didn't have police report. It took 6 years to get them identified. The first time in the history of America, a crime victim had to offer a award to identify police, not a news story in the nation. This has been unprecedented lawless. That's what I said. This is the biggest untold story in America. What's going on here? Just lawlessness is what it is. 11 of them police. And so they got identified in 2018 when a private investigator identified them. So I go through there and I'm showing them where they're planting evidence and these pictures because they don't know the camera's going, right? They got busted. They're busted as you can be. And really the charge should be accessory to capital attempted murder. That's what it is because that's what this is. I'm home minding my own business and I'm shot by surprise with my phone lines cut in my home, right? Of course, there's a burglar trapped in the bathroom, and that's maybe why they tried to, there's the reason, here's the reason we had to try to, break in his home, cut his phone lines, shoot him by surprise, because he trapped one of our burglars, and we were during the commission of a felony burglary, right? It's just idiotic criminal mentality to think that. I'm a homeowner. You don't have no permission to come to my house unless I invite you. If you break in my home, you're going to prison. That's what's going on here, okay? So anyway, that's a super video, top video going on now. KMID anchor oil show party murders. That's interesting. And the reason is it's about the girl murdered at the oil show. Here I contact this anchor of the one of our news stations here. And you think if you contacted a news person with evidence on the murder of a girl or whatever, a murder of somebody, they want to ask you questions, Oh, wow, this is a big news story, But instead of that, it's like, don't ever contact me again, and block me. That was the weirdest thing, But here, I'm documenting it. I'm recording it. And I'm going, this is what I'm experiencing. And I'm showing and making a video out of it that this is what our reporters are doing. You go to them and say, I have evidence on the murder of a little girl. And they're going, and they stick their fingers in their ear and go, blah, 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 blah. I don't hear nothing. I don't hear nothing. I don't hear nothing. They don't want to know about murdered little girls. That's literally what's going on here, New evidence in the Hailey Dunn's case. That is just ridiculous what's going on there. I had 10 witnesses documented, who, where, when, and how that famous missing murdered child died over in Hailey. And they're all confirming each other, different people. Incredible. Just incredible here. And, and the one person that's arrested was the boyfriend of Billy Dunn, okay, Sean Atkins. And none of these 11 people said that Sean was even there. I believe he was doing that meth, that was talked about there. But anyway, that's a credible video right there. And, and then I called the DA's office after they arrested Sean, and I recorded it, got their voicemail, told them I had 10 people documenting saying what happened. They never called me back. Once again, it's like sticking their fingers in the air going, la, 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 la. I don't want to hear the evidence. I don't want to hear the proof. I don't want to hear the truth. We're trying to frame somebody. Shut up, buddy. Shut up. We're trying to frame somebody, or whatever. And, we're trying to murder a little girl, what happened, and that tells what happened at my house, fact-filled proof. Kooky and Spooky is about antique collecting. That's one of my hobbies. Burglar Alarm woke me up. That's a little short, YouTube short. It's really not that big, but it's on my front page. It gets a lot of views. And then Secrets in Midland, Texas, hometown of the Bushes right here. And that's really interesting because that's talking about the underground facilities that, where were said to be put in for George H.W. Bush, 1987 for $7.35 million, etc. I recorded a woman telling me the company that she worked for, and then I recorded another woman. These are all secret recordings, right? Telling me that there was 4 3-bedroom underground homes costing over $1 million each, said they were having pedophile parties down there, okay? And then I secretly recorded a guy that was running for sheriff, okay, named Joe Lozano. That was during our election in 2020, said our last sheriff, Gary Painter, used to hide out or hang out in these underground homes where the one lady said they were having pedophile parties. And that's where I was saying earlier, that's where it's believed a lot of people were here on the night that I was ambushed and shot in a home invasion, premeditated, for-profit, capital attempted murder, okay? So anyways, here, this list is the last 48 hours. So that, this is what's trending there. And that's what I just went over there and showed you there of what's trending, okay, right now. I'm going to put these links up for you. But then I went over to YouTube and I also go, these are the most watched videos of all time on my channel that I just hit 1 million, And this was the one I was telling you about that I just call this a non-video. 80,000 Friday Night Alley action. It was suspicious, but that's about all it was, okay? Rape and murder. This is, you can see Midland K-9 police officer Chad Simpson in my house. They had accidentally started this camera. That was the secret police pictures, okay? He didn't get identified until 6 years later, until the private investigator had collected the reward money. But we found out that he went on to murder his wife and kill himself 2 days after I posted that rape and murder story. That's what that's about. Midland, Texas Secret Police, that was, that video's got, over 20,000 views. That was while they were still secret, That was before we got them identified, before we knew who they were, And then that set of videos I was telling you about, Midland, Texas Tunnels Crime Part 1, that tells how I started figuring out that somebody was breaking my house. And I posted that on my Facebook today, and I said, this video is 6-7 years old. It's still valid because I lived here 2 years before I figured out that somebody had been coming in my home. Obviously, they were coming in way before I even moved here, okay? And they're coming into many other homes. Then they're not trying to be noticed. They're getting free room and board. They're stealing from the homeowner, so they're trying to keep it secret. I believe there, and now there's a dozen addresses in Midland, another dozen in Odessa documented where people reported people in the attic. That's where they heard them in the attic. But I got a feeling there's a whole bunch more that the homeowner doesn't realize it yet. Because, I've heard noises here before I, was 100% sure somebody's in my attic and, and just blew it off. Oh, that ain't possible. That couldn't be. Who would think that they'd come under a house, put in a tunnel, rig a wall where they could come up and enter a home? But that's what's going on. I saw a person in my attic. It's not a what if could be. It is. That's all there is to it. Here's the number 5 video. Is this a sex trafficking tunnel? And that's where I'm showing the wall behind my house, where the open manhole over there, and the various construction there where you can see where they dug under the wall, where's it tunneled under. It's a big video right there. I mean, it is amazing. Sheriff Painter's hideout. That was Sheriff candidate Joe Lozano, where I secretly recorded him telling me that Sheriff Gary Painter used to hang out in them under homes. And see, that picture right there is showing the Google Maps. You go to Google Maps, put in my address, and you look at my backyard, and on the block screen, you see this big building in the backyard. But if you look at the satellite or above ground, you don't see it. So obviously, that's one of the 4 underground homes where they're having the pedophile parties at, where they were having the oil show parties at, right? Obviously, that still means there's still 3 others out there at others. And I have an idea where they're at, too. My very first Hailey Dunn confession very first Hailey Dunn video, Hailey Dunn murder confession, and it's amazing. I think it's still pertinent, itself, even though I have a whole bunch more evidence. Like I said, now I've got, 10, 11 people documented who, where, when, and how. She was kidnapped in Colorado City, taken over to Odessa by some gang members. They named them. Well, you got the address of the house that it happened at, which later burned down, I mean, there's just a ton of of information now on the murder of that little girl. Possible terrorist smuggling tunnel. Once again, this is a picture. It's pretty close to this one right up here because it's in the alley, showing a lot of the same thing. There's the coax cable that goes into the ground to where nobody knows. You can see on the fence where there's a row of bricks missing, where you can tell it was tunneled under. There's all kinds of, evidence. Secret tunnels, Midland, Texas. I drove around town, talked about this and that. I don't consider that a big one. Finding the tunnel I do, because what I'm showing there is I'm explaining that they're coming up a wall. Basically that's what's going on. And you can't come up just any wall, because a normal wall, there's not enough space in a home. Okay. And a person can't climb up a wall, but so it has to be a wall that has enough space. And so that's what they talk about. Find the wall, find the tunnel, okay? But you also find armed and dangerous criminals that backed up by a secret police murder gang, and then the press is going to help them cover up your murder like they did. That's what makes this so dangerous, is the public corruption, okay? This video, Burglars in My Attic, was taken in my attic. I'm showing a certain construction up there that obviously wasn't built when the house was built to rig this home for these crimes. And then there's Midland, Texas, Tunnels Crime Part 2. That's some of them core videos, core 5 videos. Vivid Attic Alarm System, attic alarms. Christmas 2012, I installed a Vivid attic alarm system in my attic. It dispatches the police to my home twice. Police come over, refused to look, called me crazy on the police report. I kid you not. Then the city sends me a letter telling me that if they get called again, I'm going to get fined. Okay, and there's no way to win. They're going, no, we're going to break in your home. If you don't like it, we're going to murder you. That's literally what's going on here. Okay. Human trafficking tunnel. I believe this was made right around when my dad died, and there's more evidence than that. Pence and pedophile parties. That's a top video right there. And that's what I'm saying. There's a whole bunch of, circumstantial evidence that has me convinced that Vice President Pence was working to try to cover up the crimes here, the underground oil show parties and the murders, And there's no proof on that. But the problem is we have no legitimate law enforcement to do the investigations as we should. Okay, it's been lawlessness. Okay. Proof of fake news about the El Paso shooter. That was a big video, if you remember, where that shooter, I think in Walmart or something over there. Another alley action. These are older videos. This is recent right here. Tunnel found under a Midland home. That was just amazing. That was only, 2 weeks ago. And, a guy here in Midland says his co-worker had a slab leak, busted the concrete out on Pecos Street, on 1100 Pecos Street. And you could see this man-made tunnel under that home. And that's what I've been saying all along, is that all these homes where people are reporting people in the attic, there's a tunnel. Under the home comes up a modified wall. Tunnels Crime Part 4, there's another one. Here's a police scanner video. Edgar County patrols middle of Walmart. That was when the Walmarts were shut down all across the nation. They shut down them 5 Walmarts during J-Dam and all that, and mysteriously Walmart did. Well, one of them was about a half mile from my house. There's rumors of, being tunnels over there, actually, and all this other stuff. But I can't confirm that. I do know one night there was a landman called me, oilfield landman, and I secretly recorded him. Are y'all seeing a pattern about me secretly recording? That's where I get a lot of information. But anyway, he's telling me he was told not to look underground by the Walmart over there. He did anyway, because he's looking for mineral rights. That was his business. That's how he makes money. And he said, and I found something. And then he gets framed and put in jail by no less by April Chandler, one of the secret police that was in my home. One of the, that was part of the 11 secret police here. Hollow floors, that might or might not be something. I think it's an interesting video. And here's another one in Texas Tunnels of Crime. That's what's in this court. And then caught digging in my backyard. My dog alerts me to a noise coming from under the ground. I take my phone out there, and now it's known. Back then I didn't know that it was only a few feet from where the underground home is in the backyard. But back then I didn't know about Google Maps showing an underground home in my backyard. But I'll go out there and I'll make a video, and you can hear the noise coming from under the ground. It's amazing. And then were just some of the top videos that I have there. You can find that on my YouTube channel under Buddy Webb. Maybe you'll find this interesting, and hopefully we'll see that rule of law returns. And this is definitely, they're breaking into homes all over America. This should be a national news story. That's all there is to it. On multiple levels, doctors faking X-rays, all these high name politicians, and the secret police. It's incredible. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.